Latin America Regional gets one team sent to Madison and the CrossFit Games. Chase Ingram, Joel Godet, Tefi Escudero down on the sidelines. We will find out with whom she will be speaking 9 minutes from now. The standings are so. Team Samurai, 462. They need to finish first, second, third, or fourth to guarantee themselves a spot in Madison. Anything else, they'll need a little help.
Well, here's the scenarios that we're looking at. Samurai, fourth or better, they're in. Don't take the chance. Go out and win this event. Q21 is tied up in points with Parceros. Q21 needs to win this event, and Samurai to finish worse than fourth because of tiebreakers. Parceros need one more below that.
It's simple. The workload is 144 handstand push-ups and a 144-foot worm lunge. Down the lane, back down the lane. That's it. Now the handstand push-ups gets complicated. You must rotate clockwise. One teammate does a handstand push-up. Another teammate holds a handstand. The other two wait. They rotate in as needed. The rotation cannot change. Samurai team in lane 5. Q21 in 4. Parceros in 6. Tigran Armada is in lane 7, the only other team mathematically alive. So those are the 4 teams competing for one spot. And here's the difference about Latin America versus other regionals. They're all going to the games anywhere else. 5, but here, just 1. Army, crawl your way to a handstand.
The pressure is on Samurai. We've seen this before all weekend. It's easier to chase people down than it is to hold people off. The pressure mounting on a team that has no experience at this level as a full group. In fact, all of these teams in a position in a new regional that we haven't had in the past 3 years. So how do you control the moment? Are you going to go all out in the beginning in hopes to try to get this in one rotation, or are you going to break it up quick and do it in 2?
Samurai was first after event 1. It has 2 first place finishes, a 3, a 2, and a 5. That was today in event 5. 5 might not get it done here. 1, 2, 3, or 4 is the guarantee. Now, they are very excited about this. The handstand push-up. Over the last year, one of their areas they marked for improvement, gymnastic movements and handstand push-ups.
Coming into this event, you got to look at the 144 handstand push-ups and know what you guys are capable of. Get big chunks, big sets in the beginning while you're fresh and while you're fast. You can do a lot of reps and take the load off the person that has to hold while you work. When you come down, quick transitions. Get off the wall, get to the wall as fast as you can. Know what your job is supposed to be when it rotates. And then when you get to the worm, I saw this on Instagram last week that the CrossFit Games pulled up. The worm lunge at the end is the lie detector test about if you really want to go to the games. If it comes down to these 3 teams in a 144-foot worm, you are going to know who wanted it more by the end. It doesn't matter how strong you are. It doesn't matter how good you are at handstand push-ups. It's a walking lunge with some weight and 4 people with one goal in mind. The team that wants it more at the end will finish first.
There's Moema, who was victorious in event 5 to start the morning off. Mathematically eliminated from going to the games, but built some positive momentum today and certainly made things interesting. Helped send us into the mathematical situation we are right now with everyone else. 517 is the number to beat by Don't Stop. Cruised through the South Regional last week. Also look at who is wearing the chip timer. You can see the right leg flying up in the air on the handstand push-ups, that extra black, what looks like a higher sock. That is the chip timer. It's on a black anklet band. So once we get to the worm, make a note of who has that chip timer on for each team. It is their discretion where they are on the floor, because if you finish the work and you race over the line, but your chip timer doesn't get there, you can see it there on the left, doesn't matter. They've got to cross first.
Well, that's what we have to make sure of on the way back, is that you have that person in the front part of the worm. We've seen so many races here in Latin America come down to a photo finish.
Here comes Parceros.
Parceros to the worm first at 3:30. Moema is off, Samurai and Q21, and this is what we wanted to see. A lunge to the finish.
If Parceros wins, it gets darn interesting. They will need Samurai, though, to finish below 4th, and right now that is not looking like a possibility. However, as confident as Samurai was on handstand push-ups, the worm, they said, was their biggest challenge. They started training it a month ago.
Parceros in the lead over in lane number 6 are doing exactly what they need to get a first place finish. That's all they can ask for. The rest needs to fall into place. That means Samurai has to finish 5th or worse because of a tiebreak between them. It's only 16 points separating. The tiebreak comes down to best finish. So Parceros in the lead, exactly where they need to be. Samurai in the middle of the competition floor just stopped and switched shoulders. They're back into 4th in this heat.
And watch CFP9 Rio down in lane 8, because they could push Samurai into the 5th place position if they pick it up a little bit. It's a tedious spot for Samurai at the moment. We have 3 teams right now that have been in the top 5 in each of the 5 events. Q21, Parceros, and Samurai. They have been bugging each other all weekend.
The important thing is the time to beat in the bottom left corner of your screen. If Parceros can win this heat, that time to beat is going to come into play because they need teams between them and Samurai. As you look on the floor, Samurai looks like they're about tied for 3rd in this heat with them and Q21.
Had an armless lunge there by Alejandro Arcia. He is the front man for Parceros, and he is the one wearing the chip timer for the team that it looks like will win. They did their job here in event number 6. Now, what kind of help will the Colombians do?
Samurai just dropped the worm in the center of the floor.
Parceros is in. They have won event 6.
Keep your eye on the clock. Done underneath 6 minutes. The time to beat is 6:25. Q21 is moving up into 2nd.
They've dropped the worm. Q21 is in. Moema drops the worm. A push. They are in. Samurai needs to finish 4th in the event. 6:25 is the previous time to beat, and they've got to move. Drop the worm and run. 6:24. They got in over that time. That is going to be 5th place at best for Samurai, and they're going to have to hope and pray. CFP9 Rio drops the worm. Done. The local favorites, some 15 minutes away from their box in Rio de Janeiro. They have not put the unofficial times yet on the in-stadium video board, and that's a good reason they won't.
They're not going to put that up there. They're going to rob us of this excitement.
Parceros, they are huddled in a circle, draped in the Colombian national flag just off your screen. And I've got to imagine you're hoping, you're praying.
But what did we say that had to happen? Parceros had to win, and they needed Samurai to get a certain place finish. Now, based off the tiebreakers, it depends. Did they get 4th or did they get 5th? They were 4th in this heat, but crossing the line right around that 6:25 mark, which was the time to beat in a previous heat.
And it looked later than that, too. I thought they dropped the worm around 6:25.
We're looking at the game clock, we're looking at the scoreboard clock,
True.
And it's different, and that's why we have chip timers. But if they got 5th, they're out. because it was 16 points. That's the difference between first and fourth. So they had to get fourth overall. But that one time in the previous heat, in fact, it was in heat number 1. You tell me what you do in heat number 1 doesn't matter? So I'll have to see what they got on the official time. If they got 5th, they're out.
The Colombia Parceros, they might be making the trip to Madison. Colombia sent 2 teams, and they trailed, chasing down Samurai. They may very well have caught the Warriors.
Now,
these are the event results.
Let's preface this by these are unofficial times. These are unofficial times that just came on the scoreboard. So right now, as it looks that Samurai got 5th in this event, less than 2 seconds behind Baru from heat number 1. Colombia did exactly what they needed to do, and that was to win this event, to give them an opportunity to go to the games. But now it will come down to what the official scores is, and then whether the tiebreakers are going to come into play between these teams.
It's an uneasy feeling. Just read the eyes. Parceros at the bottom of your screen, Samurai on the right. Alejandro Arcia has the bun on the back of his hair. This is how it went down.
Right out of the gates, Parceros was first off the wall onto the worm. I mean, just look at that. And here's what I like the most is that they were in position where they needed to be, but they didn't panic. They just took it one step at a time, all the way through. No mistakes. You didn't need to go fast. You just needed to get first. Now, the devastating parts we saw from Team Samurai is they would switch shoulders halfway down the floor. That is your 2 seconds that you needed. They dropped the worm one time on the way back. Those are the 2 seconds you may have needed. Team Samurai waiting, and when you're looking at this, center lane, no rep, drop the worm. And what you hope is that was them dropping any chance they may have had to hold on to that first place position.
It dropped them about 3 lunges behind Moema and Q21, who were neck and neck.
And they were tied. That was the hardest part, is that Samurai, who was 4th on the way down, they were tied for 3rd on the way back in this heat. And that one no rep there in the middle could cost them a trip to the games.
The Parceros, Marcela Peña-Salas, Maria Clara Ceballos, Jonathan Restrepo, Alejandro Arcia. And that is Samurai. And that's all you can do at this point. The hay's in the barn. Previous regionals experience with Team Samurai, they wanted this to be the trip where they got over the top. The Parceros, a regional team as well. Samurai out of Buenos Aires in Argentina. And there is the Argentinian contingent. The Team Samurai flag that has flown prominently. The Parceros on your bottom of the screen, not only from Colombia, but from Sabaneta, a 15 square kilometer municipality.
I cannot believe it took 3 days and 6 events to come down to a single lunge.
This is the before photo.
Yeah.
Yeah, one lunge.
One lunge, one misstep, possibly.
Chase, what's this feeling like?
It's the worst. It's the worst. Oh, I can't imagine this feeling. It'd be like me being, I don't know, it's a feeling that I've haven't ever had to be in, but that I've seen before, and just absolutely gut-wrenching to see what would happen.
The Colombia Parceros, second, first, fourth, coming into the day. And then they get the job done in events 5 and 6 to even get themselves into this situation.
Oh, wow.
This is what it's all about.
América Latina no CrossFit Games, mais alguns instantes.
Exatamente, aguardando resultados oficiais. Em alguns instantes teremos o anúncio oficial aí do resultado final da competição em equipe aqui no seu 2018 Latin American Regionals.
Who is going to the games? Parceros out of Colombia. Samurai from Argentina. Chuck Carswell is our head judge, confirming our scores, making sure everything is in line.
Just listening to my right.
This is not something you want to get wrong.
They have gone through this 10 times already to triple confirm what is about to happen for these two teams.
Someone's dream is about to be made.
And crushed.
And for another team, you have a year to retrain to get back to a moment that was in your palm. Remember, only one team, one man, one woman out of Latin America. There's no 5 spots. This isn't margin for error. You have to win. And it pays to be a winner.
You know, that's the excitement and stress of the weekend, is that, you know, you can have missteps when you're taking 5. I can have a bad event. These top 3 teams had nothing below 5th place all weekend. You had to be nearly perfect to get a trip to the games.
Let's give Q21 its due as well for pushing the tempo. They also had nothing worse than a 5th place finish, and that's the shame of it for them. You know, any other regional, they're going.
And, well, what did I say in the very beginning when you're taking 1? First place finishes matter. I mean, obviously they matter all the time, but they're at a premium. To be able to get 100 points to your name when you're only taking 1 is monumental. And then on the flip side of that, only taking 1. Something out, it's crazy to say getting an event outside the top 3 could pull you out of contention. That's the wild and crazy Latin America regional that we have.
Chuck Carswell now calling over his other head judges to conference. Maria Clara Ceballos is the one from Colombia Parceros who had her hands clutched in front of her face. They will announce this on the floor over the public address. We will find out as this happens. Nachi Graciano is our floor public address announcer. And for the results, and to find out who is going to Madison, Parceros or Samurai Team, let's go to Nachi Graciano.
So, with 546 points, the team that will represent Latin America in the CrossFit Games is Team Colombia Parceros! In the second one, with 546.
Parceros to Madison. Colombia sent 2 teams as the only representation of the country. And Faster CrossFit will represent an entire continent and region. And heartbreak for the Argentinian Samurai Team.